Bars a chance to reopen under phase 2. Now, right now under phase 2, bars, they are not allowed to stay open, but restaurants are allowed indoor and outdoor seating at half capacity. This bill would give bars that same ability to open outdoors, seating customers at 50% of their capacity. Now, the bill also passed in the Senate earlier today, but it still needs the governor's approval before it becomes reality. And Governor Cooper did respond to this bill earlier this afternoon. He says North Carolina is just not in a place right now to open bars.
This legislation would mean that even if there is a surge of COVID-19 that would overwhelm our hospitals, that bars still stay open. Now, I know that it is a tough time for business, and I believe that there will be a time when we can open bars, but that time is not now.
Now, if the governor does veto the bill, there will not be enough votes to override him in the House based on today's vote. It takes 72 lawmakers to override, and only 65 representatives voted for the bill. Welcome to WFMY News 2's 4 to 5. I'm Ben Briscoe with Tahisha Moyes, and Eric Chilton's supposed to be up over there. He's going to give us a check on the weather in just a second. But before we get to him, we want to hear from you. We've all got our phones out. I know Tahisha has hers at home, so we can comment and talk with you. But first, let's talk about that weather. Eric, I wore my socks today with the cactus on them, hoping that this rain will stop.
Yeah, that's good. Well, anything that might work. Yeah, we'll take that. We're looking at temperatures today that are up there. Now, why do we care about temperatures when we're talking about a possibility of thunderstorms? Because that plays a huge role in our thunderstorm activity. 82 degrees in Greensboro, 86 High Point, 80 Winston-Salem. You get the idea, most between the low to mid 80s. Now, we saw some sunshine earlier today. The reason we didn't really want that is because we have so much tropical moisture over our area that it doesn't take a whole lot of lift when you have that much moisture to spark a thunderstorm or two. That will be happening. In fact, it's happening as we speak. Evening thunderstorms tonight gradually will diminish as we head into the late night hours, but 68 will be that mild, actually warm overnight low. Tomorrow, 82, mostly cloudy, late day thunderstorms again. Here they come from the south back up to the north, just now starting to reach the southern parts of Davidson and Randolph County and across Montgomery County as well. It doesn't look as impressive right over us as it does around the Charlotte area and east of us, east and south, I should say. But we do see that flood warning that's still in effect, really from parts of Davie County and over into Davidson County from Arcadia down just west of Lexington. But here's the latest when it comes to the radar. We do see that severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45. Now, that's for Montgomery County. It hasn't quite made it to the southern tip of Davidson and Randolph, but if you're in those counties, we'll see if that can hold together long enough to maybe move that warning back up to that area. Again, this is not a tornado type situation at all. It's just scattered summertime thunderstorms. Our futurecast kind of looks like the same thing tomorrow. It will take us probably until Saturday morning that we actually see that clearing from the northwest back down to the southeast. Today, technically, we are under this severe thunderstorm risk, but it's marginal, which means it's not as likely to be a widespread event. 7-day forecast, lower 80s today, tomorrow with that good chance of late day storms. Then look at Sunday. Boy, is that beautiful. Sunny and 76. We're sunny all the way through Wednesday of next week. Mid 70s Monday, Tuesday, low 80s Wednesday, Thursday, and a stretch of dry days from Sunday through the end of next week.
Dr. Christopher Uhl with Wake Forest Baptist Health says he's concerned with the number of coronavirus cases in Guilford and Forsyth counties. Dr. Uhl says there's been a slight uptick in the number of cases in the last week. Dr. Uhl says Wake Forest Baptist Health is able to treat both coronavirus patients and other patients equally. Now, he says now is the time to schedule appointments for non-coronavirus related surgeries you may have postponed. He continues to mention that lower income communities have been impacted more during this pandemic. He says the outbreak at the Tyson plant in Wilkesboro appears to be under control, and he addressed that large gatherings are not large group gatherings could be a problem now that North Carolina is in phase 2. He says that if we do not continue to social distance, we could risk public health.
Also, large gatherings, I think are not, I don't think they're safe yet. And getting lots of people together in areas where they're close is not smart right now. And I would really discourage that.
Dr. Uhl said nursing homes continue to see clusters, but the clusters are getting better as staff and residents are tested and checked regularly. Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. A speedway will be postponing tomorrow's race to Saturday because of weather. The speedway was recently at the center of conversation for the races that they held last Saturday. Around 2,500 people attended the race just one day after Governor Roy Cooper announced the state was moving into Phase 2. Now, under Phase 2, only 25 people are allowed to gather at outside events. The Speedway initially said they were following guidelines, but the state health department said they informed the Speedway the day of the race to limit the number of people to 25. The Speedway hasn't said if they will limit the number of people going to Saturday's race. But today, Governor Cooper said he hopes local law enforcement will enforce policies, but said his administration will reevaluate if further action is needed. Minneapolis protests turned deadly Wednesday night. One man was shot to death as protesters marched in the name of George Floyd, a man who reportedly died after being taken into custody by police. Several buildings were set on fire and broken into near the 3rd Police Precinct. According to the mayor's office, the National Guard was called in to assist. Officers fired rubber bullets and tear gas into the crowd around 6 p.m. when the crowd surrounded the precinct. Meantime, 4 officers have been let go from the force since Floyd's death. More than 2 million people filed for unemployment last week, bringing the total number of unemployment claims to around 41 million since the start of the pandemic. The U.S. Labor Department says out of those 41 million, only 21 million are still searching for work. First-time applications for unemployment benefits are down again for the 8th straight week. And back here in North Carolina, the Department of Transportation says it's reviewing its budget after an audit showed the department overspent. That audit showed that the budget was maxed out by more than $700 million last year. The Department of Transportation recently announced they will furlough over 9,000 employees. They say the pandemic has cost the agency $300 million in revenue. So all employees will have to take off 20 to 30 hours by the end of June. State lawmakers say they're considering legislation to help prevent this kind of oversight in the future. And if you are looking for a job, Triad Goodwill wants to hire you. More than 60 part-time and full-time positions are available. Workers will receive benefits like health care, paid time off, 401ks. Now, their virtual hiring event will be on June 2nd. You can pre-register for the event, or you can go directly to the career assistance at triadgoodwill.org to apply today.
I'm sure they need the help after all the people throwing stuff away during the stay-at-home order. North Carolina continues to ramp up its testing efforts. CVS is opening 50 coronavirus testing sites across our state. That includes some right here in the Triad. The sites are part of CVS's commitment to open 1,000 test locations by the end of May. Anyone getting tested will stay in their car, and get this, you do your own self-swab under the supervision of a CVS employee. Results come back in about 3 days. If you need a test, register online. You can find a link and a testing site near you on our website. Guilford County health officials are offering free testing again tomorrow. You can get your free test Friday, but you gotta make an appointment first. The testing is happening at Windsor Recreation Center in Greensboro. You can stop by from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And Davidson County health officials are also offering testing for anyone experiencing coronavirus symptoms this Friday. Registration is now open for free testing. You do have to pre-register before you go to the health department. Testing will be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and registration will close when capacity is reached. Guilford Parent Academy and Guilford County Schools are partnering to talk with parents and guardians about mental health. The virtual village covers anxiety, depression, and trauma exposure. The webinar starts in June, and the dates and times are right there on your screen. Anyone attending will learn strategies for creating an environment for positive mental health. To register, just visit Guilford County Schools website. Dance studios across North Carolina are petitioning to be allowed to reopen sooner than Phase 3 under Governor Cooper's plan. Now, they were initially included in Phase 2, but were taken off the list like gyms and bars were. Now, this Change.org petition has nearly 15,000 signatures. Dance studios want the governor to allow them to have a soft reopening on June 1st with restrictions. Those would include the following: no use of ballet bars or props of any kind, wash hands and use sanitizer before each class, close the lobbies, temperature checks at the door, limiting class sizes and ensuring proper spacing between students, sanitizing all surfaces in between classes, and masks for teachers. Now, Cameron Legan, who owns Destination Arts in Oak Ridge, signed this petition. She switched to doing virtual classes for her students back in March, but says many of her students have been struggling mentally because they have no real escape.
And that's been hard for kids because they spend all day already on the computer for school. And so by the time that they get to their dance class, which is usually their release, and when they can kind of let go and escape mentally, they to tune in online, and so it's hard for them to disconnect from that and kind of understand the difference.
Legan says parents tell her their kids end the Zoom classes sadder than when they start because they realize how much they miss their friends. Now, initially, Legan planned to do something special for her students, but had to hold off since studios weren't allowed to open in Phase 2.
We were going to hold some individual solo recitals for each of our families, one at a time, which was going to take a really long time. But I thought that's what our kids needed to be able to wrap up this season and to kind of celebrate all the hard work that they've put in up until this point.
Legan says she has no plans to open her studios on the 1st if changes are not made, but she says that by signing this petition, she hopes that it will allow the governor to see that dance studios across the state have the capability to open while keeping kids safe.
Well, coming up, we're talking about thunderstorms again. They are starting to move in from the southwest, and so far so good, but we do have a warning, one warning to talk about in our viewing area. It may be changing though over the next couple of hours. We'll have the complete forecast coming up.
This afternoon, the CDC is warning lawmakers not to use a certain type of coronavirus test to make decisions about policy. They're talking about the antibody test. See, here's the problem. The agency says we just don't know enough about antibodies yet to determine if they actually help someone with immunity in the future. There still needs to be more research. Antibody tests show if someone has been infected with coronavirus before. Now, the CDC says antibody test research should not be used when making these decisions, like reopening schools, correctional facilities, or other areas where large groups gather. According to the agency, it takes a person 1 to 3 weeks to develop antibodies after contracting coronavirus. But one of the makers of the test argues that they're still very useful.
Once we identify a person who has a positive antibody test and we've determined that they are not currently infected with the virus, we now know that that person is very unlikely to bring the virus with them into the workplace.
The CDC says if antibodies are detected, a person's chances of getting the virus again are decreased because they built up some level of immunity. But this is really important. They stress research is still ongoing and people should not assume they're immune.
You know, we were watching temperatures today, as we said earlier in the show, that you watch that because if the sun were to come out, which it did for a while, that just adds some fuel to the fire, so to speak. When you look at late day thunderstorms with all that tropical moisture in, with the remnants of Bertha, it's still just lingering over us with nothing really to push it out yet. That will happen on Saturday. But until then, we've got late day thunderstorms, a very summer-like forecast. Temperatures at 82 in the Triad. Look to the south, though. Augusta, 90 degrees right now, 87 in Columbia. These will be close to our high temperatures today, not official yet at the airport, but still we'll be watching that. Your planning forecast, though, as we head into the night tonight, it's 68 degrees for the overnight low. We'll hit that in the morning, right? Mostly cloudy skies tomorrow, upper 70s by midday. We think we top out at 82 with a chance of late day showers and storms. Keep in mind we are in a marginal risk today across the Triad. That's not really that bad, but something we'll watch. Most of the thunderstorm activity is to the south, and we'll keep you posted on that. The only one affecting our viewing areas in Montgomery County until 4:45.
Hi, mic check, 1, 2, 3, mic check, mic check. I'm gonna lower this light a little bit. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
High school athletes are going to have to wait at least a little bit longer to meet up with their teammates.
They had really hoped they'd be able to start on June 1st. Today we learned that's being pushed back another 2 weeks. WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson talked with one high school team in the Triad about how this impacts them.
Ben Grimsley's head football coach tells me it's not really affecting his team too much right now because they wouldn't be holding summer practices until June 15th anyway. But he is concerned about incoming freshmen who want to be a part of his roster. The good news is Coach Darryl Brown was talking to a lot of middle school players who want to be on the team before the coronavirus pandemic hit. He's also been talking to his current players through Zoom calls to stay connected with them. He and the rest of the football staff at Grimsley High School hope they can take the field come June 15th.
Well, we're just kind of playing it day by day, just like everybody else. You know, kids are asking us all the time when we're going to be back, what we're going to be able to do. We're just kind of letting them know it's a week-to-week thing. If it gets pushed back even more, we'll kind of have to reevaluate what we can do. The last thing I heard was June 15th, but hopefully being able to get back on that date that we'd come back in small groups, you know, 15 or 20 kids at a time. So we got a plan for that. If we get back at that point in time, if it's July or even later, then we'll make a plan then. But it's just really hard to set anything in stone right now, not knowing.
Not knowing when it's going to all start, I think, is the toughest part for any coach in any program. But Coach Brown says the Whirlies practice about 3 times a week whenever they do practice in the summer, but he may add a 4th day to that this year.
Amanda, thank you. The annual East-West All-Star Games are canceled this year. The North Carolina Coaches Association says that coaching clinics will now be virtual. The association says that those sessions will be posted on their website. Membership and associate cards will be made in the office and sent out in the mail by August. The coach registration fee will cost $45, and that's due by July 23rd.
Coming up, we're still watching showers and thunderstorms developing to our southwest, moving to the north. And if you're in Montgomery County, you're starting to feel the effects of that. Probably southern Davidson and Randolph County. Coming up next, we'll have your full forecast.
We want to take some time to honor the class of 2020. As you know, they won't be getting their graduation ceremonies as normal this year, so we've been doing what we call our senior shout-outs. Let's take a look at some of the grads we are honoring today. Kaylon Nee is a senior at Southeast Guilford High School. He's going to GTCC in the fall. His family wants to wish the best to both Kaylon and the rest of the class of 2020. Mackenzie Minton is a senior at Providence Grove High School. She's a varsity cheerleader there and a member of the Beta Club and FBLA. Mackenzie is planning to go to Appalachian State University in the fall and major in interior design. And Mila Cunningham is graduating from the middle college at Bennett. She's a member of the Royal Court as Miss Senior, member of the National Honor Society, and cheers on the varsity squad at High Point Central. She plans to go to UNC Charlotte as a pre-med student. If you want to share your senior shout-outs with us, just find this submission form on our website. Submit a photo of the senior. We're asking that you don't send professional photos. Be sure to include their name, their school. You can also include a personal message with your shout-out.
Temperatures have been a little bit on the warm side today. We're looking at, and this is kind of a running total, not the official highs today from the airport where we get our readings officially, of course. But this is kind of a running situation with temperatures. They may go up another degree or so. We usually hit the high right about now, but 82 in Greensboro, 84 for Burlington, Siler City. Very summer-like, isn't it? Even when you go to the higher elevations, it's still warm. Wilkesboro at 81, even Galax at 75 degrees. Now, those were temperatures that we think will end up being the highs for today. The actual temperatures are going a little bit warmer for High Point at 86 degrees. How about that? We do have this severe thunderstorm risk, but it's marginal, which really is not so high on the list. You have to get up. Once you get to slight or enhanced, that's when we become a little bit more concerned. But we do see the showers moving in from the south. Just want to show you that the most recent thunderstorm warning, in fact, the only one we see in our viewing areas in Montgomery County right now and Stanley County, that runs for another 20 minutes or so. We'll have the complete forecast coming up.
Welcome back to 4 to 5, the show where we get to talk with you live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Ben Briscoe with Tahesha Moyes, and Eric Chilton has a look at our rainy weather.
Yes, we have showers scattered and some thunderstorms. Most of that is to the south. Now, not as widespread as we were talking about earlier in the day, but still, we'll take that, right? That's a good thing. Temperatures are really making it warm and make the atmosphere a little bit more volatile. We had the sun for a while today, so that sort of kicks things up a little bit. 82 degrees right now in the Triad. Asheville's at 77, Columbia up to 87. If you go over to Augusta, Georgia, in that area, that's when you start to hit some low 90s, making it 92 right now, almost like the middle of summer, that forecast. Here's what the latest radar looks like, and you can see the heavier thunderstorm activity now moving in to southern parts of Montgomery County. I also think Moore County and Lee County, so around Carthage and Sanford, that area, we'll probably see that thunderstorm moving into their neck of the woods probably in the next 30 minutes or so. For now, the only one that touches a county in our viewing area would be Montgomery. That runs until 4:45, so about 15 minutes from now we should see that go away. It remains to be seen if it can hold together to move into southern Davidson or Randolph. But I'd say if you're in those two counties in the southern half of the county, just keep an eye out in the next, say, 45 minutes to an hour. We'll see if that's extended up your way. It actually looks surprisingly clear to the south, the upstate of South Carolina. Not that volatile just yet. We'll keep our eyes open because this could still run into the night. There's a decent chance that we could see some of those showers or maybe even an isolated thunderstorm as late as 8 or 9 o'clock. After that, tomorrow, it's a repeat performance of today. You'll see some sun first half of the day, so not a washout. 50-50 shot of late day pop-up showers and storms. Same story on Saturday, although Saturday we may see a few a little bit earlier, but 81 on Saturday after an 82 on Friday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, beautiful. Mid-70s for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all sunshine, sunny to partly cloudy Wednesday, Thursday, and we're in the low 80s.
Governor Roy Cooper announced new help for people out of work because of coronavirus. A federal grant from the U.S. Department of Labor is being given in North Carolina, all to support job training. $6 million will help with on-the-job training and temporary employment opportunities. Now, this is for anyone laid off because of the virus. They're able to participate. We are following up now with the governor's office to get more details on how you can join in.
Just days after their grand opening, a local brew house had to close their doors because of the pandemic. Now, the Goose and the Monkey Brew House in Lexington is back open again. WFMY News 2's photojournalist Manning Franks reached out to them to see how they managed to stay afloat.
Grand opening was February 29th, and our last full day of operations and open to the public was March 16th. Everything that we were planning to do in 6 months to a year, we had to figure out how to do within a few hours.
I'm at here later on.
We were coming off the high of being open for 2 weeks and then being shut down for who knew how long it was going to be. We had to adapt really quickly, so we didn't have very much time to be disappointed because we had to figure out a way to be able to keep beer going out of the door. So we started doing setup immediately for curbside sales.
We thought, how are we going to survive when we are not distributing yet?
Well, today at 5 p.m., North Carolina enters Safer at Home Phase 2.
We found out when the governor made the announcement that we were not going to be involved in Phase 2. We thought another 5 weeks of this is not acceptable. You know, that was just not going to be able to happen. We're members of the North Carolina Brewers Guild, and they held some Zoom calls, and they went to work immediately. We were thankful that they worked it out. The pledges is what kind of, I guess, got us over the edge with the governor's office to be able to open. It's our pledge to the customer, and then the customer's pledge back to us, and it's just saying that we will be clean, we will sanitize after everyone leaves, to maintain the social distancing, to wear your face covering. We didn't want to just jump back into it and have another grand opening, so to speak, and have all the people in here. We wanted to, to be responsible.
And so now that it's slowed things down, we can get to know our community, which is what we wanted to do. We were very grateful to them.
The U.S. Department of Labor announced more than 2 million people filed for unemployment last week. Now, the number of new filers is down for the 8th straight week in a row since the pandemic started. Well, a viewer reached out to the Verify team wondering if unemployment affects your credit scores. Let's turn to the experts to verify.
There's all sorts of confusing information out there about this pandemic, but the Verify team is here to bring your questions to the vetted experts to get the truth. A viewer asked us to verify, will unemployment from COVID-19 impact your credit score? Our sources here are Experian, one of the 3 major credit bureaus, and Credit Karma. They both say no. Losing your job by itself is not going to ding your credit score.
Being unemployed does not impact your credit scores directly. Whether you are currently employed or not is not part of a credit report.
You see, your credit report doesn't show if you've applied for unemployment, nor does it show your employment history. All it shows is who your employer was when you applied for new credit.
If you get a car loan, you might have that car loan for now on average anywhere from 5 to 7 years. If you change jobs during that time and that's the only new credit you apply for, we wouldn't have that new employer reported to us.
But here's the catch. Losing your job can impact you indirectly if you miss a payment on your credit card, a loan, or take on more debt, then yeah, your credit score can take a hit. With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Walt Disney World says they will reopen their parks in phases. Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom will open on July 11th. Epcot and Hollywood Studios on July 15th. Now, both guests and employees, they're going to have their temperatures checked and have to wear masks. Signs promoting social distancing and hand washing will be displayed throughout the parks. A week-long manhunt that captured the national spotlight is over. Police say the man accused of a double murder in Connecticut was arrested in Maryland. Now, this is a crazy story. The 23-year-old is suspected of killing a 62-year-old with a machete in Connecticut on Friday. Police say then he drove 60 miles across the state where he murdered another 23-year-old and kidnapped that victim's girlfriend. It is still unclear what the suspect's motive was. The Boston Marathon has been canceled for the first time in its 124-year history. This is because of coronavirus. The race had originally been postponed from April until September, but organizers announced today that the 2020 event has been scrapped completely, at least in person. Instead, they're going to have a virtual run. Runners will have to verify they ran 26.2 miles on their own to receive a finisher medal. We want to honor all seniors this year since graduates have been so greatly impacted by the pandemic. So that's why we're doing our senior shoutouts. Here's some of the graduates we are featuring today. Isaiah Smith is graduating from Moorhead High School. His family says he is an outstanding football, basketball, and track player who leaves nothing on the field. Isaiah heads to Randolph County Community College in the fall. He will then transfer to NC A&T to pursue an engineering degree. Katie Wright is a senior at Rockingham Early College High School. Her family says this was not the way she expected her senior year to go, but says the hassle was worth that tassel. And Kiera McNeil is a student at James B. Dudley High School. She is a cadet in the junior ROTC. She is also a percussionist in Dudley's nationally known Marching Band of Thunder. She plans to attend NC A&T State University this fall to go to school to study psychology. If you want to share your senior shout-outs with us, find the submission form on our website. You can submit your photos of your senior, but please not professional photos. We want ones you've taken, their name and their school. You can also include a personal message with your shout-out.
One California teen is way ahead of the game. As Nicole Comstock shows us, he's already a college graduate at 13 years old.
This is a really exceptional milestone for a 13-year-old kid, so his family and friends just wanted to make sure that he got the celebration he deserved. It's quite the stage to stand on, right in the front yard at his La Mirada home, with a ton of friends and family cheering him on from their cars. Jack Rico is graduating from college. This little smarty pants is only 13 years old, and apparently one degree from Fullerton College wasn't enough.
With 4 AA degrees.
Why are you so smart?
It just happened.
But it didn't really just happen. Jack's quick to clarify that he's not a genius. He's worked really hard for this.
Oh, 100%. No, and you never just know everything. You have to study day and night.
He's just full of knowledge. about everything.
Jack's mom, Rue, started homeschooling her son when he was a 3rd grader because she recognized he needed more of a challenge. She says by the time he was 11 years old, he had already surpassed every high school standard and has always held himself accountable for his own grades.
I did my best, and I can't be sad with the outcome, whether it's an A or lower.
Have you ever gotten anything below an A?
I wouldn't know.
You know, for us, his heart is bigger than his brain.
But his brain is definitely behind a one-of-a-kind accomplishment.
I'll tell you, we checked in admissions and records. It has never been done before.
Jack's next stop is the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
I'm still trying to explore my interests.
He's not quite sure about a career just yet, but he does love screenwriting.
You want to go out for dinner, Steven Spielberg? All right. You want to pick up Michael Bay on the way? You know, that would be pretty cool.
But for now, he'll keep his acceptance speech short and sweet.
Just thank you all so much for coming and supporting me.
And Jack's mom tells us all she wants for her son's future is happiness. Reporting in La Mirada, Nicole Comstock, KCAL 9 News.
That kid is such a character. And you know, one thing that stuck out to me was he says he didn't know everything. When I was 13, I'm sure I knew everything.
Not you, never. You know, I can't wait to see what kind of movies that kid writes because he's got such a good sense of humor. Quite a bright future ahead of him, for sure.
He's so smart, so articulate for 13.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's a grown-up. I love when he goes, absolutely, no, I didn't know everything. I studied day and night. And that kid's got a lot on the ball. He knows what he's doing. All right, let's take a short break. We're coming right back. Trust me, none of us graduated college at 13. I'm just telling you. We'll be back.
Steven Spielberg, call him.
No.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm Stacey Spivey, and here's a look at what's trending online in your social snapshot. Talk about double trouble. These twins have dominated their graduating class and stood side by side at their virtual graduation as valedictorian and salutatorian. Bill says he's more relaxed and a type B personality, whereas his sister Alice is type A, which is why he explains she took the #1 spot. After a lifetime together, they will go their separate ways in the fall for college. Alice is heading to Yale and Bill to Princeton. And a Georgia couple is not only celebrating their wedding anniversary, but also the husband beating COVID-19. Janice found Robert unconscious and violently ill one day, rushing him to the hospital. He then endured a 30-day stay in the ICU and spent 13 days on a ventilator. He says he was so weak he couldn't talk, but his wife's support got him through it all. And now he's fully recovered and celebrating 24 years with his wife. Happy anniversary to them. That's a look at what's trending online in your social snapshot.
Our forecast talking about a few thunderstorms. I'll say this, pleasantly surprised here so far. We'll keep our fingers crossed because we're not finished just yet, but not as many thunderstorms as we could have seen, that's for sure. Sun peaked out a little bit today. That added some heat to the atmosphere, which makes it a little more volatile. 68 will be the overnight low tonight. By the way, mostly evening storms. I think by 8 to 10 o'clock tonight, we'll see most of the storms die down. If you see anything after that, it'll be a sprinkle. But then tomorrow, it's a mostly cloudy day. I think tomorrow is pretty much a repeat of today. We look for low 80s with a late day pop-up shower. Here's the latest radar imagery, and still we do see some of those heavier showers and storms to our south. If you check this for latest watches and warnings, they did let that one expire in Montgomery County, and it does look like it's losing steam a little bit. However, Sanford area is seeing some thunderstorms, probably southern Davidson and Randolph counties. Get ready for some rain and some occasional lightning. I don't think this will be such a wind situation with some of these storms as it will be just lightning and rain if you get it at all. It's all kind of drifting from the southwest back up to the northeast, and we do see some breaks in this. So again, tomorrow is kind of a repeat of this. All that moisture that's kind of hanging in the atmosphere, that was Tropical Storm Bertha, now just the remnants. And even though that low is moving all the way up toward Pennsylvania, behind it, that moisture stays with us for a little bit. So that means this for our forecast. We keep an unsettled late day kind of summertime situation for today and tomorrow and Saturday. So that's a 50-50 shot for those 3 days, 82 and 81 for Friday, Saturday. We may escape by Saturday evening to start to see some clearing, maybe even a little bit earlier. Some of that rain might be definitely early in the day. Then we'll clear out. Sunday's beautiful, sunny and 76. We've got mid-70s and sunny Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy and low 80s.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, North Carolina lawmakers passed a bill today to allow bars to serve outdoors. Triad bar owners react to the legislation, and will Governor Roy Cooper sign it? That's next on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Artists across the nation are finding ways to continue their art while maintaining social distancing. One musician is finding ways to create music even when there are no events to play for. His biggest hit, Wash Your Hands.
My background is in playing saxophone and also composing.
What does a musician do when there are no gigs?
It's a very expressive instrument.
Garrett Wingfield told us, because that was his source of income pre-pandemic. Now all he has is time.
I really honestly needed something to get just to be regular and to get myself back on my feet and kind of just be writing something and kind of creating.
Wingfield found inspiration in the sink and challenged his fellow musicians to send videos.
The one requirement is that you have to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds.
To which he'd compose a piece.
I send them their part, like the sheet music. They record that part. I record my part, and then I kind of mix them together.
He calls them the hand-washing etudes.
Yeah, so they would like quickly turn on a faucet, and like turn it off, and then turn it on, turn it off, and then like hit their hand to the ground. They're playing like a, you know, like little sounds like that.
He's up to 9 now.
I call it experimental music, yeah.
Each one very different. Proof that creation doesn't stop.
It's about still finding ways to kind of curate each other's art.
Well, there you go.
I love that people are finding the beauty in everyday things. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. No, I think you have to at this point. And when you look around yourself, you know, in your apartment, a normal person who's not musically gifted wouldn't think, you know, what can I do to make music? But of course, that's what a musician is going to do. I'm all for keeping busy. So if you want to make music with the sink, go ahead.
Okay, Tahisha, I want a TikTok video soon. Let's see it.
TikTok video? All right, I'm working on it.
Eric, can you do anything about this rain? Can you work on that?
Yeah, you know, we are lucky so far that we haven't seen as much in the way of heavier thunderstorm activity, so good, that's good. We'll take that as a pleasant surprise in the forecast. When you look at the next 24, overnight lows are really warm. So tomorrow morning, 68 degrees. By the way, that's about where we were today. Mostly cloudy during the day. I think it'll be a repeat, just like today. You may see some breaks in the clouds first half of the day. By midday, clouds build back in with late day storms, thunderstorms. Just think of a summertime pattern. Upper 70s for your lunchtime temperatures. The high temperature at 82 tomorrow. It'll be pretty much a repeat of today. And when you look at the scattered showers and thunderstorms, a lot of this to the south of us, but it is starting to lift to the north, albeit slow. We're seeing those showers and storms moving up. Montgomery County seeing a good bit of that. We did have a thunderstorm warning for Montgomery County a while ago. They canceled that about 5 to 8 minutes ago, to be exact. This heavier shower and thunderstorm now moving up toward Troy and the Robbins area. I would say if you're in southern Davidson, you see Denton already getting a little bit of rain ahead of that thunderstorm. We're not seeing as much lightning with this, but you could see that. Not a wind damage situation, just heavy rains and some occasional lightning. So watch out for that. It is starting to develop in southern Davidson. It'll be moving into southern Randolph County as well. Siler City already seeing heavier showers as we move through probably the next hour or so. Now it looks like a lot of this is breaking apart to the south in the upstate of South Carolina. That's good news. It does not mean that we can't see one pop up, because anytime we have this much moisture in the air from the remnants of Bertha, as that low pressure, by the way, that's all the way in Pennsylvania, but behind it, still a good bit of moisture and humidity in the air. You felt that when you walked out today, didn't you? Nothing really to clear that out until Saturday morning. We think the passage of the front then will change things. So heading into tomorrow morning, we may see clouds, but we're in good shape as far as rain goes. Late day thunderstorms. This is Saturday at about 6:45, and then heading into Saturday, look at that, we finally start to clear from the north to the south. Temperatures, though, we talked about the rain. So late day rain chances Friday, maybe some Saturday morning showers, low 80s, clearing out Saturday night. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, mid 70s with all sunshine. It is beautiful, that stretch of days. Wednesday, mostly sunny, 81. We'll throw in a couple of clouds on Thursday and a high of 82. We'll be back.
Hey, we are talking about bars being able to possibly reopen.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There, the 16th annual event will actually be held this
Stores and restaurants. Yes, stores and restaurants already have the green light to partially reopen in
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just waiting.
Hey, yeah, my handheld mic wasn't on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you?
First, let's take a look at the numbers. The NCDES says that since
It's time for my 2 cents. You know, when Maddie, Eric, or myself will chime in and talk about anything, really. Sometimes it's funny, other times it's introspective. But here's what I want to do today. I want to figure out who I need to speak with to return 2020 back to sender, because this is not what I signed up for. And I really thought it was going to be a great year, and it started out so strong. I got engaged to my best friend on January 3rd, but things just went downhill from there in the world, and I made all these big plans too, as all of you probably did. I was going to take my mother on a mother-daughter trip to Europe next month. Now I just take trips to the fridge. I was going to put in extra time at the gym. Now I just eat extra Nutella straight out the jar. Life is throwing us all a curveball right now, and we've all had to make adjustments to how we live. There's just so much uncertainty in the world, and it can be easy to fall into a negative spiral, but that does you no good. So here's what I want you to do. Practice positivity. Think of something that makes you happy or something that you're thankful for, both before you go to bed and right after you wake up. Then watch how your mindset changes. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your mental health is especially important in these trying times. Please continue taking care of yourself and know that we will get through this. That's my 2 cents and your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.